chosen ones. God does not call the qualified, He qualifies the called. Pause for a moment, because what if this isn't just a phrase but a direct explanation of why you're here? Out of billions of people scrolling endlessly, somehow you stumbled onto this message. Coincidence? Hardly. Destiny, most likely. Here's a fact. Throughout history, divine callings have often come in the most unexpected forms: burning bushes, angelic dreams, even cryptic scrolls. Today, though, it might just look like this: a digital nudge on your screen, and the message is clear. A God-chosen government official is seeking you. Now I know what you're thinking. Me? A divine meeting? I'm not exactly Moses or Esther. But maybe that's the point. The people God chooses often have one thing in common: they didn't see it coming either. And hey, if God can work through a donkey in the Bible, surely He can use a LinkedIn post, right? But don't scroll away just yet, because what lies ahead could challenge everything you think you know about yourself, your purpose, and yes, the idea of divine intervention in modern leadership. Stay with me. This isn't your average call to action. It's a calling, a hidden alliance between faith and power. What if divine intervention isn't just about miracles and spiritual experiences, but also about power and influence in the systems that run the world? Throughout history, the idea of faith and governance working together has often been dismissed as a fantasy. Yet here we are, faced with a possibility that defies the norm. There's a reason this message reached you. Could it be that unseen forces are aligning faith with authority to shift the direction of our lives and the world at large? This isn't about religion being shoved into politics. It's deeper than that. A government official chosen not just by ballots, but perhaps by something far greater, reaching out to someone like you. It's a concept that feels both impossible and oddly magnetic. It raises questions that can't be ignored. Is there an unseen plan at work here, a divine intention to merge wisdom from above with leadership on earth? Throughout history, shifts in power often come from partnerships that are unexpected. David wasn't a politician, he was a shepherd. Yet, when the time came, God placed him on a throne to lead a nation. What if this meeting is the beginning of something similar? What if this is the moment where earthly governance and heavenly purpose come together in a way that no one could predict? This isn't just a chance encounter, it's a deliberate act of timing, something orchestrated on a level beyond what most of us can comprehend. It challenges what we think about leadership, influence, and the role of faith in shaping decisions that impact millions. The question isn't whether this is significant, it's whether you'll recognize it as such. Some moments are bigger than we know until it's too late. This might be one of those moments. Why you? The unexplainable selection process. Out of all the people in the world, why are you the one seeing this? Why now? These questions don't have simple answers, but they linger, because deep down, you know it can't just be a random moment. If you believe even a little in the idea of purpose or divine timing, then the fact that this message has reached you should make you wonder, what qualities do you have, hidden or obvious, that align with something greater than yourself? This isn't about being perfect, popular, or even prepared. The most extraordinary callings often fall on the most unlikely shoulders. God doesn't seem to have a habit of picking the obvious choice. Instead, He picks the available, the willing, or sometimes even the clueless. Could it be that the reason you're seeing this is because you've been chosen not for who you are now, but for who you are destined to become? Think about it. Out of billions of people, this moment has found you, and if that feels unsettling, good. Being chosen rarely feels comfortable. It's disruptive, demanding, and almost always comes with a sense of, why me? But maybe that's the point. This isn't about your qualifications or your current understanding of yourself. This could be about untapped potential, talents, or wisdom you don't even know you carry. Maybe it's not a question of why this message reached you, but rather about what you're going to do now that it has. Because if there's even a chance this is bigger than you, a calling, a connection to something divine, then walking away might not just mean missing out for yourself. It could mean missing a role in something far more significant than you ever imagined. The weight of being chosen, a blessing or a test. Being chosen sounds noble and exciting, doesn't it? But dig a little deeper, and it's not all glory and honor. There's a weight that comes with it, a responsibility that most people aren't prepared for. If this message has found you, it could mean you've been called to something bigger than yourself. And while that may sound extraordinary, it's also a little terrifying. Think about what it means to be chosen. It's not about being given a crown and a parade. It's about being entrusted with something important, often something that others might not be willing or able to carry. It means stepping into a role where failure has consequences, not just for you, but for others who might depend on your obedience to fulfill their own destinies. That's a heavy load. The truth is, being chosen isn't always a reward. It's often a test of your faith, your character, and your ability to stand firm when the pressure mounts. It's easy to feel inadequate or unworthy when faced with such a calling. In fact, most of the people God chose throughout history felt exactly the same way. Moses argued he wasn't a good speaker. Jonah ran the other way. Even Jesus wrestled with the weight of his mission in the garden. So, if you're feeling unqualified or unsure right now, that's normal. But here's the catch. God doesn't call the perfect. He perfects the called. You don't need to have all the answers or be fully ready. You just need to show up. Because the truth is, if you've been chosen, it's not really about you. It's about what you're being called to do and the lives you're meant to impact. The question is, can you handle the weight of being chosen? What is a God-chosen official really? What makes a God-chosen official truly different from an ordinary leader? Is it their title, their achievements, or their public support? Not quite. A God-chosen official stands apart because their authority seems to flow from something deeper, something beyond human systems. Their leadership doesn't rely solely on the power of a position or the applause of people. Instead, it's rooted in a profound connection to purpose, a sense of being guided by something greater than themselves. This isn't just about having religious beliefs or a moral compass. Many leaders possess those. A God-chosen official carries an uncanny ability to merge spiritual insight with real-world action. They don't just see problems, they discern the deeper forces at play. They don't just lead with policies, they lead with a vision that speaks to both the material and spiritual needs of the people they serve. Such individuals often possess a quiet strength that isn't easily shaken by criticism, failure, or external pressure. It's as if their authority doesn't just come from votes or political systems, but from a higher calling that equips them to endure, to persevere, and to rise above the fray. Their decisions might not always make sense to everyone, but there's a conviction behind their actions that sets them apart. Maybe their authority isn't meant to fit neatly into human definitions. Perhaps it's a blend of earthly responsibility and divine appointment, a unique calling to bridge the gap between heaven's purpose and humanity's need. This kind of leadership doesn't just shape policies, it transforms lives. Whether or not they're recognized as such, a God-chosen official doesn't merely govern, they fulfill a destiny. The question isn't just who they are, but why they've been placed in this moment in time. The possibility of prophetic collaboration. What if this meeting is more than just a chance encounter? What if it's the start of something extraordinary, a partnership that could bridge two seemingly separate worlds, the spiritual and the governmental. Throughout history, moments of profound change have often been driven by unlikely collaborations, and this could be no different. A connection between divine insight and political strategy isn't just intriguing, it's revolutionary. When spiritual guidance intersects with governance, the possibilities are limitless. Divine insight brings clarity, vision, and moral grounding, qualities often missing in the cutthroat world of politics. On the other hand, political strategy provides the structure and action plan to turn visions into reality, impacting policies, communities, and nations. Alone, these elements can be powerful. Together, they could redefine leadership and create a ripple effect of transformation. But prophetic collaboration isn't easy. It requires trust, discernment, and an openness to navigate the complexities of both realms. A leader who carries divine insight must also understand the practicalities of governance, while a government official must be humble enough to listen to wisdom that doesn't come from advisors, polls, or data. This isn't about religion influencing politics or vice versa. It's about aligning spiritual truth with actionable leadership for the greater good. The implications are enormous. Imagine decisions made not out of fear, greed, or political gain, but from a place of deeper purpose and accountability to something greater than human ambition. Such a collaboration could lead to policies that prioritize justice, compassion, and long-term impact over short-term wins. It could inspire a new standard of leadership, one that doesn't just respond to the needs of the moment, but anticipates the needs of future generations. If this meeting represents the start of prophetic collaboration, it could be the spark that lights a fire of change, reaching far beyond the individuals involved. Not all chosen ones feel chosen. Being chosen by God doesn't always come with a feeling of confidence or certainty. In fact, it often feels like the opposite. Many of the most significant figures in history, people chosen for extraordinary missions, initially saw themselves as the least qualified, the least prepared, and sometimes the least willing. This isn't a coincidence. God has a way of selecting those who, by human standards, seem ill-equipped, only to reveal strengths and abilities they didn't know they possessed. If you feel unqualified, unsure, or even inadequate, you're not alone. Think of Moses, who stuttered and doubted his ability to lead. Gideon, who questioned why God would choose someone as insignificant as him. Even the disciples of Jesus were ordinary fishermen and tax collectors, far from the world's idea of greatness. Yet these individuals were called not because they were ready, but because they were willing. They didn't feel chosen, but they were. This meeting could be your moment of divine reassurance. Maybe you've spent years doubting your own worth or potential. Maybe you've convinced yourself that someone else is better suited for the task. But what if God has been quietly preparing you all along, equipping you with tools, experiences, and insights you didn't even recognize as part of a greater plan? Feeling unqualified doesn't disqualify you. It positions you perfectly to depend on something greater than yourself. When God chooses someone, it's not about their resume or reputation. It's about their willingness to step forward, even with doubts in hand. This meeting might not just be about what's being asked of you. It could be the moment where you finally see yourself the way God does. He does not perfect the called, but He perfectly chooses. Divine timing. The universe doesn't schedule randomly. Timing has a way of revealing purpose, especially when the divine is involved. If you're seeing this message, it's not by accident. It's arriving at a specific moment in your life during a unique season in the world. Why now? That's the question that should stop you in your tracks. The universe doesn't deal in randomness when it comes to destiny, and every pivotal moment has its own divine schedule. Look at your life right now. Are you facing a crossroads, feeling a stirring that's hard to explain, or witnessing global or personal challenges that seem to demand something greater? These aren't coincidences. Divine timing operates with precision, aligning events in ways we often don't recognize until much later. Perhaps this moment is meant to pull you out of the ordinary and place you into something extraordinary. Throughout history, timing has been everything. Esther didn't know why she was placed in a royal position until her people needed her to act for such a time as this. Joseph endured betrayal and imprisonment only to realize his suffering positioned him to save nations during a famine. These weren't accidents. They were orchestrated moments. Your timing matters just as much. Maybe there's a shift happening in the world that requires your unique perspective, talents, or influence. Perhaps the circumstances of your life have brought you to this exact point because only you can fulfill what's needed. When the divine calls, it's not about convenience, it's about readiness, even if you don't feel ready. If this moment feels significant, it's because it is. The universe has aligned events not just for you to witness, but for you to act. Timing isn't just about when something happens, it's about why it couldn't happen any other way. The risk of ignoring the call. Every divine call comes with a decision. Will you step into the unknown and embrace it, or will you let fear, doubt, or complacency lead you to walk away? Saying yes to a calling is rarely easy, but ignoring it carries risks that ripple far beyond your own life. A divine assignment is never just about you. It's about the people, the opportunities, and the impact tied to your obedience. When you ignore a calling, it's easy to think you're only forfeiting something personal. Maybe you assume someone else will take your place, or that the opportunity wasn't meant to be yours in the first place. But divine assignments are rarely interchangeable. The specific skills, perspective, and purpose you bring to the table are uniquely yours, and walking away leaves a gap that no one else can fill in quite the same way. The cost isn't just personal. Think of the countless lives that could be touched, transformed, or even saved by your willingness to step up. Your yes could pave the way for someone else's breakthrough. Your actions could inspire a movement, spark a solution, or bring comfort to someone in need. Walking away from a calling means walking away from the chance to leave a mark that only you were destined to make. History shows us the weight of missed callings. Jonah fled his assignment, and it took a storm and a whale to bring him back. He eventually fulfilled his mission, but not without unnecessary chaos and delay. Saying no doesn't erase the calling. It simply postpones the inevitable or transfers the burden to someone else, someone who may not have been as uniquely positioned as you. The question is, can you live with the what-ifs? Because the risk of ignoring a divine call isn't just missing an opportunity, it's missing your purpose. Could this be a test of your faith and discernment? Not every encounter that seems divine is truly from God. This is one of the most crucial lessons to learn when navigating spiritual callings, especially when those callings come with the promise of influence, power, or change, in a world where motivations can be hidden and intentions can be masked. Your ability to discern the genuine from the deceptive is more important than ever. And right now, you might be facing that very test where your spiritual insight is about to be challenged like never before. When God calls, His voice is unmistakable, but the enemy can be subtle, cloaking deception in promises that sound good, look appealing, or feel right in the moment. The call to action might come dressed in flattering words or promises of success, but not every opportunity that seems blessed is truly from God. That's where discernment comes in. the ability to separate what is of divine origin from what is merely a distraction. This could be the very moment when you must rely on your spiritual senses. Do you feel a deep, unshakable peace in your spirit about this opportunity, or does it stir up unease? Even if everything on the surface seems perfect, are you being drawn to this situation because it aligns with God's greater purpose for your life, or are you being lured by your own desires or the potential for worldly gain? Tests of faith and discernment are not easy, but they are essential. They challenge you to trust not just your eyes or ears, but the voice of God within you, the one that speaks louder than any external influence. This meeting, this call, could be a defining moment where your spiritual maturity and ability to hear God are sharpened. It's a reminder that faith isn't just about believing in God. It's about trusting His timing, His direction, and His ability to guide you through the fog of confusion. The ripple effect of obedience. The decision to obey a divine calling is rarely just a personal one. It creates a ripple effect that extends far beyond your own life. In fact, what may seem like a small step of obedience could spark a monumental shift that impacts families, communities, or even entire nations. The power of saying yes to a divine invitation doesn't stop with you. It spreads outward, often in ways you can't immediately comprehend. This could be the moment that sets something in motion, a ripple that becomes a wave, touching lives you never thought possible. Consider the weight of what happens when someone steps into their purpose. Look at the lives of historical figures who obeyed the call, individuals like Martin Luther King Jr., who inspired millions with his stand for justice, or Mother Teresa, whose obedience touched the hearts of people across the world. They didn't just change their own lives, they ignited movements, shaped the future, and left legacies far greater than themselves. Obedience has the power to initiate change on a scale that transcends personal gain and echoes through time. This meeting with the official could be your moment to set that ripple in motion. The people around you, your family, your friends, your community, are watching and waiting for someone to rise and lead with purpose. Your obedience might open doors for others to step into their own callings, inspiring a movement that could change the way people think, live, and act. How willing are you to be that catalyst? How ready are you to bear the weight of a calling that could influence lives far beyond your immediate circle? When God invites you to something bigger than yourself, it's never just about you. It's about the lives that will be touched, the hearts that will be changed, and the world that will be transformed by your willingness to obey. The ripple effect of your obedience could be the spark that ignites a fire of change that reverberates for generations. When earthly power meets eternal purpose, earthly governments are driven by the urgency of short-term goals, elections, policies, and mandates that often focus on the immediate needs of today and the promises for tomorrow. But God's plans don't operate on the same timeline. His purposes stretch across generations, weaving together stories, destinies, and outcomes that may not be fully understood until long after the present moment. So, when these two timelines, earthly and eternal, meet, the result is nothing short of extraordinary. This meeting with a government official might not just be about politics, policies, or positions of power. It could be a rare intersection where the temporal and the divine converge, a moment where earthly authority is aligned with a higher eternal purpose, creating an opportunity for something far beyond the scope of ordinary human ambition. Imagine the power of decisions made not just for political gain, but in alignment with a divine blueprint. The impact would be far-reaching, transcending the limitations of today's news cycles and affecting generations to come. What if this moment isn't just about the now, but about the forever? What if the decisions made, the influence wielded, and the wisdom shared could change the course of history? God often works in subtle, behind-the-scenes ways, but when his plans align with the authority of earthly powers, the potential for transformation is enormous. This isn't just a meeting. It could be the tipping point where eternity meets time and a significant shift takes place that forever alters the course of nations and lives. The timing of this meeting, the roles played, and the purpose behind it all may be unfolding at the intersection of two worlds, one that is temporary and fleeting, and one that is eternal and unshakable. If you're part of this moment, you might be stepping into something bigger than you can currently grasp, a divine alignment of purpose that transcends what the world can see. Are you ready to reimagine your role in the divine narrative? For much of your life, you might have seen yourself as just another person in the crowd, someone whose role in the grand scheme of things is limited to the day-to-day grind of survival, work, and personal goals. But what if everything you've believed about yourself has been part of a much larger divine narrative that you haven't fully recognized yet? This encounter, this moment, could be the catalyst that shifts your understanding of your true purpose. It may not be about who you are now, but about who you're destined to become. What if the ordinary life you've lived up to this point is just the prelude to a much greater story that you've been chosen to play a part in? Divine narratives often involve plot twists that are only revealed at the right time, and often the people who think they're least equipped or ready are the ones God chooses to fulfill a mission that's far greater than they could ever imagine. Consider the possibility that this meeting isn't random, and neither are you. It might be the moment when your life is redefined, not in terms of what you've accomplished, but in terms of what you're called to do moving forward. You may have underestimated yourself, but the divine purpose written into your life story has always been there, waiting for you to step into it. This isn't just a moment for reflection, it's a moment of reimagining. It's time to let go of the limitations you've placed on your potential and embrace the idea that your life might be part of something far more extraordinary than you ever believed. Who you are now might be a far cry from who you're destined to be, and this meeting could be the key to unlocking the future you were always meant to walk into. Are you ready to reimagine your role in the divine narrative and step into the purpose that has always been yours? In the end, what we face in life isn't a series of random events, but a carefully woven tapestry of divine timing, purpose, and destiny. If you find yourself on the cusp of this meeting, it's no accident. The path you're walking is charged with significance, and this moment could be the turning point that shifts everything, not just for you, but for those whose lives are destined to intersect with yours. It's a chance to step into something greater, to answer a call that's been echoing in your spirit, to embrace the extraordinary purpose that's been uniquely designed for you. This isn't just about a meeting or a fleeting opportunity. It's about the power of obedience, the impact of divine collaboration, and the ripple effect of one life fully surrendered to a higher calling. You might not feel ready. You might feel unsure, but that's exactly where God can work the most, in the places where you feel weakest. His strength is made perfect in the moments when you're uncertain. His guidance will illuminate the way. So, as you stand on the edge of this opportunity, remember, you're not just walking into a room or a conversation. You're stepping into the unfolding of a divine plan. How you respond to this call could forever change your life and the lives of others. The question isn't whether you're qualified, it's whether you're willing to say yes, to trust that the one who calls is more than capable of equipping you for the journey ahead. The stage is set, the invitation has been given, and now it's your move. Will you step forward into the extraordinary life that's waiting for you? If this message resonated with you and you're ready to embrace the extraordinary purpose that's unfolding in your life, don't let this moment pass you by. Subscribe to the channel and join a community of individuals who are stepping into their divine callings and reimagining their roles in the world. Stay connected for more insights, inspiration, and guidance as you walk this transformative journey. You don't want to miss what's coming next. Hit that subscribe button and be part of something bigger.